Hello and welcome to today's episode of my little collection of fabulous interviews with fabulous women about the book Stories of the Goddess, Divine Feminine Frequency Keepers. And today it is my pleasure and my honor to welcome Patricia Wald-Hopkins. Welcome, Patricia.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to have you here. And for those of you who don't know, I am Bonnie Iseno or Bonnie Melita. And so today I want to share with you Patricia because she's just a fascinating lady. She does so many things, but one of the things that she does, or a couple of things she does that are most interesting to me, is something she calls butterfly healing. And she also is a voice of Gaia and can help you connect to that energy. And you will see in the upcoming book, my chapter, that I speak a lot about Gaia. So obviously, we have some common interests there.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, so Patricia just does a lot of things, but I will let her begin to tell you some of her background. So, Patricia, anything you want to share with us is great.
All right. Yeah, well, that I am a multi-passionate being for sure. And one of the things that I tools that I work with a lot is human design and the gene keys. And so if you don't know your design, that's fine. But mine is called a manifesting generator. And what that means is that I can tend to be pretty prolific and move here and there and, do a lot of different things. So, but they all do relate and under what I like to think of, as alchemy, and alchemy for bringing balance and harmony to the individual and to the environment, as it all works together. And so um, my background is I am a biologist, by training, and I studied environmental health and toxicology. And so I had this part of me, and when I was younger, where I was very much into science and worked in laboratories and did a lot of research and things like that. And then it kind of balanced out when I took a leave from that kind of work for a while and became a massage therapist and learned about essential oil, which is what my chapter is about. And it was interesting because I studied a lot of chemistry and biochemistry in school. And so the oils, like I had this relationship with them through that biochemistry, understanding how things worked. But I had no idea just the power of them, right? When they come onto your body, and you don't have to know any of that to feel the frequency shift that happens. And so I feel like my training in the labs and working with chemicals and things like that, chemistry, it helped me to refine the way that I learn to blend intuitively, because most of my blends are intuitive blends. And I actually um, weave that into what you mentioned, the butterfly healing. I have goddess blends, and that's what I talk about in my chapter, how they came into the 3D, the process that I use, um, and how they actually shift your your biochemistry and your frequency so that you can embody that energy of the goddess that they represent, or the energies that come through. And so that's kind of the piece that I'll talk about here today. I mean, I work in the Akashic records a lot to bring in information that we need, and to help people, and including myself, connect my expressions, which I call my voice, to the wisdom of Gaia, so that whatever you create is sustainable and in alignment um, with her natural, the balances, right? Like, so it keeps things in harmony. And so that's kind of an overview of, of my
Great.
work.
It's interesting to me to hear what you had to say about the oils and how they affect the body, because it sent me right back to, I mean, I had obviously heard of and seen and, experienced essential oils, here and there, just sort of randomly. But the most pivotal moment that I remember with oils is I was taking an animal communications class.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
fantastic. We were at this place called Panther Ridge, so we were going to be communicating with all these cats all day and whatnot. But I walked into the room for the class, and I remember I literally stopped in my tracks because I could feel something from a certain area of the room that just made me stop, but not in a bad way. It was just like, stop and soak this in.
Mm,
And
mhm.
when I had a moment to assess, the room and what was going on in that area that I could feel this energy from, she had a bunch of oils, essential oils, placed on this table. And it was so clear to me that it was from those oils. And so for this entire weekend that I was there doing this workshop, I could not get enough of these oils.
Right.
No, and I wasn't even putting them on me. It wasn't like she was opening
No.
them. She wasn't using them in the class. I mean, they were just there. And I
Mhm.
just was all weekend just bathed in the essence of them.
Right.
And it was really, really incredible. So they are that powerful, excuse me, that, even through a closed bottle, they're,
They're in a closed bottle. Yeah, they're still sending out that, that frequency
and they
of
certainly
that
changed
they
my
hold.
frequency, changed my vibration.
Mhm.
And from that point on, like, I never forgot that and never, got past that. And it was after that that I felt, like, okay, you know what, I need to bring these like literally into my world.
Yeah, they shift.
Yeah.
They shift. They shift the energies. When I was working in corporate, I always had my bottles with me, and I wasn't out, I would just have them there, maybe put a little dab on a sticky note, and because and people would comment, they'd be like, "Your office is so peaceful. It feels so, good in here," and they would just come and sit. And so they really are powerful.
Some years ago, my husband and I took my mom. She had been many times in the past out in the Midwest and all over the country, but she wanted to take a trip again to a few places. And so we were just totally like flying by the seat of our pants, no planned hotel rooms, no nothing, just, okay, we're getting tired, let's find a place. So, it wasn't always, the best places that we would find.
Yeah.
But I always, and I had my oils with me, I always would walk into the room and go, okay, wait a minute, don't unpack anything, don't anything, just put it there, let me do this, and I would be all
Right.
around the room with my oils and muscle testing which ones do we need in there, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, and it would totally transform the whole experience.
It does. It really, really does. I mean, I think I started to appreciate them when I went, when I was doing a lot of massage for my clients, but then with my children it was a whole other, you know, layer of appreciation for what they could do to soothe, you know, the physical body of the children, but also the mother's emotional system.
Uh,
They really, really helped me a lot. And I think some of my earlier blends were all for mothers. And then as my, children are, you know, 14, 13, and 10, he's almost 11. I kind of switched more into what I call divine indulgence blends. And they're more about, like, for instance, the goddess blends, so that they're more about an experience of multidimensionality, rather rather than the ones that are for, soothing aching muscles or a tummy ache, or calming anxiety, although they do have those ingredients in them, so they do support you in that way, but it's really about a multidimensional experience. to bring in a different frequency. And a
Mm.
lot of my blends have, in Gene Keys and Human Design, everybody has a design, right? A profile. And a lot of my blends actually also have a profile. And so there is a deeper essence to them that you can explore. Um, you know, it's fun. It's like a magical box.
Right. It's so super fascinating. You bring up such a good point with that too, because, just as our bodies are, we have this sort of superficial point of view about them until we start learning and, opening up that Pandora's box and we start
Yeah.
realizing, wow, there are I am so multidimensional. Like there is so much more to me than what I can see and touch. Um, but I hadn't thought about that, um, that an oil might have that sort of profile. And that is really fascinating because, everything, I mean, I get that everything has a wave, everything has a vibration. And so, depending on the rate of that vibration, it might show up as something that you see, it might show up as something you hear, whatever. But I just hadn't thought about oils in that capacity. So that is really, really interesting that they would have that.
Yeah, it's like a sacred art, and I talk a little bit about, how I feel like it's in my it's in my blood, but it's also just in my past, like from my past lives and things like that. I've worked with oils. And so in this lifetime, it's particularly manifested as an art, like an art form where even the oils have a presence. And so like I create digital art for each oil, and they have a transmission from the Akashic records. And so and I make meditations around them. And so it's like this, it's a divine indulgence, right? We all need that in our lives, right?
Oh,
So that's kind of, and then you come in and I work with people in person. Not since COVID, that kind of shifted things a lot for my practice, but you just immerse them in this what I call butterfly healing. And it's just all of this stimulation of your senses, but in a way that brings you into experiencing the characteristics of a certain archetype, right? So
mm,
like one of my blends that I do talk about in there, it's called let's see which one wants me to talk about it. Well, there's the Metamorphics, okay, and she was one of my first blends, and she's like a priestess, right? But she's all about like the magic and metamorphic process of you pulling away the veils of who you thought you were. Like, so there's like, I have one that has black pepper or pink pepper in it, which is like the oil of unmasking. So it starts to like unmask all your layers. And so there's a lot of symbolism and just different things that go with the oils. And so I just feel like when they came through, it was these are supposed to be gifts to women so that they remember that magnificent goddess beauty energy that they are, because we forget. I don't know. I forget every day, so I put the oil on to remember.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Anyway.
gosh, I think I'm gonna have to really schedule like an entire week to just come and sit and talk to you
Oh
24/7.
yeah, that would be great.
You're just like opening things right and left for me. Oh my gosh, I'm like, wow, thank you. It's so super fascinating. And now I'm curious to know because obviously from what I'm getting from you already, this is not just a real basic flat answer you're probably going to give because
That's not how I am. Yeah.
where you come from on anything. But, so I'm really interested when you said that your chapter is on oils. It's like, okay, wait, and again, you opened something for me I hadn't thought about as the oils as goddesses, and particularly when you blend them together. Wow, like that's a birthing an amazing aspect, right? But I'm curious to know, like, okay, so I know you're all about Gaia and I know you're all about oils. And how exactly did you bring, how did all of your path, because obvious it was all of it, like, how did it lead you to this book? and why that in your chapter?
Wow. Yeah. So it's interesting because when I connected with this book was actually a couple of years, I think it was a couple of years ago. Um, and I really hadn't explored the goddess energy before that. Like I like explored like magical energies, like a lot of different things. But when I saw that book, The Goddess, and it was just like I knew it was time. So I didn't actually know what was going to be in the chapter until probably, maybe 6 months ago. So there was a whole year and a half where I was just kind of working in the alchemy of what the goddess would be for me. But I did know when that I was going to be connecting some dots around my past lives that have to do, with the Magdalens, with Mary Magdalene and with Isis. I knew that. I knew that right away. And so that was why I came. I was like, Spirit was like, you got it. You're going to tell a story about something about that because it's important for you to share that. And so that's what brought me here, was that I knew I had to talk about my connection to the sacred oils that were used to anoint. Yeah.
Well, and that brings me to when I was a child, and hearing about the gifts that were given to the baby Jesus. And I remember, as a child thinking, well, this one guy gave him gold and the other two gave him like some pine tar.
Marin.
Like, what? Like that just didn't make sense. But obviously, I didn't know anything about those substances.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Mm-hmm.
the power of them. And, then once I learned, I started thinking, well, like, well, the dude that gave him gold, like, what was he thinking?
Right.
But then, I've since heard, I've heard thoughts and ideas, that maybe it wasn't gold as we think of, the metal gold. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Who knows? But obviously, if it was that important, those things were that important. Hello, like, why are they not in like everybody's hands? Why are
Right.
we not taught this like from conception? Like it just should be a part of our world and a part of our understanding because they're so powerful and so
Yeah.
they give such good guidance and they're so healing and they're so fill in
Yeah.
because there's so much you can say about them. So
The
thank
plants. Yeah, the plant our plant allies are what are, a way of communicating directly with Gaia, right?
you.
Because they hold the consciousness of her so deeply, and without any sort of masking that humans have.
Right, right. And you bring me to another point that I haven't talked about, but I have a feeling you might have a same sort of feeling about this. But people are so into not harming animals, and I love that. I do. There's nothing, I'm not saying anything against that. However, I want so much for us to come to the point where people feel the same way about plants
Yeah.
because it hurts my heart when I see like landscapers go in and because the season changed, they just rip up the plants and throw them in the trash and put some others there. It's like, what are you doing?
I
It's
know.
just,
I know. It hurts, right? You feel like I feel that when I see that, and it hurt. My heart goes.
yeah, it's it is painful to me, and it's I almost feel sometimes like I can hear the plants screaming, which for some people might sound out there and woo woo, but that's what I feel sometimes. That I just feel them like, "Oh." So yeah.
Yeah, especially the of course all of the plants, but especially the ones with the longer lifespans. I have junipers around my house that, junipers can live to be like 400, 500 years old if they're let to be. Ponderosa pines and all, the larger trees, they can live. And so the wisdom that they hold about the earth and what they've been through, what they've felt through their roots and through their, through the air, it's like I
Nation
get
that's
chills when I talk
happening.
about them, right? It's like they're the wisdom keepers. And yeah, so tree oils, those are so magical, like myrrh and you know, the frankincense, the ones that come from the resins, and I think those are why they're some of the really holy oils. And then there's spikenard, right?
Just like, I
I
love
know I'm getting intoxicated by talking about
I
oil.
know, right? Exactly. And I don't know, you probably know this, but I've studied some things that have taught me, and it's fascinating knowing this little tidbit that with trees you can see if they grow spiraling clockwise or counterclockwise, they're either sending energy out or pulling energy in. You know, sending
Oh, I
energy
didn't know that. That's cool.
out
Yeah,
to the
wow.
universe or pulling from the universe down to the earth. And it's like, wow, you know, what a
Yeah,
concept, you know, and they do. I mean, there's such powerful beacons of like earth and whatever
yeah.
is out there, you know, whatever
Earth
you
and sky, yeah, whatever you want to call that up there. Yeah, no, they're magical.
Mhm.
They're they're magical beings for sure. So I think that essential oils for me, you know, I talk about my connection to Gaia, right? That has been one of my primary connections is through the oils and with the crystals, like um, you know, especially um using the energies of crystals to help to align to the deeper parts of earth, right? The core of the earth, right? Because they're related to all of that which we stand upon. And so mixing those two together is really powerful. And I do that as well with my blends. But yeah, I could talk about things forever. So
No,
oh
we could make a whole entire like interview that would last for days. You have
yeah, it
so
would be
much
fun.
fascinating information to share. So, coming back to the book, not that we really left it, but in a more pointed way, we have this pre-release coming up
Yes.
third, which is so exciting. I can't believe it. And
Mhm.
I mean, we've been on this journey for 2 years, so it's about to, you know, launch, and that's super exciting. So I would love to hear from you. I mean, Rada Publishing House is such a beautiful community, and
Mhm.
such a different sort of spin on things and how to birth a book and this whole sense of community and all of that. What has been your favorite experience working with Rada Publishing House?
My favorite. I have to say that my favorite part of it has been the way that she has held us um, to a very high integrity within ourselves. You know, like it's time to show up, and you know, and to celebrate that, and to show up the best that you can, and like just giving inspiring me to step into my goddess frequency, basically, because you know, we have a right to do that now, especially now. Yeah, and to have other women doing it at the same simultaneously at the same time is it's really good.
Transformational.
Yeah, really good transformation. Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
and I would love to add to that. I mean, what you said about her holding us, she does it so beautifully.
She does.
Almost like magic, and it's so gentle and loving.
And gracious, yeah. Hmm.
We are, you know, dragging our feet for whatever reason, you know, it's always, the reminders are always done so lovingly, respectfully, and it's just
Yes. Yes, it's like there's no reason to be afraid to show up in your integrity, right? To show up as
right.
you are. And that has really been my favorite part about it. And seeing other women to be able to do that. And of course, she's just a beautiful role model, right? We see her show up. So.
Inside and out, beautiful role model.
Yes,
Absolutely.
inside and out. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I am hearing, I forgot to turn off, I have my mom's phone. She flew away with the angels a few months ago, and I hear her phone. She had this setting at 11:11, always alarms to remind you to send unconditional love. and it's probably coming through on this recording.
I
So
love that. Oh,
acknowledge that, and just say, I'm sending you unconditional love, Patricia. All the goddesses and beautiful spirits that have been working on this book with us, including, everybody in the publishing house, all behind the scenes people, and also to all of you who are listening and watching this interview. I'm just sending you so much unconditional love from the deepest depths of my heart. And I want to say thank you so much for tuning in and for listening to what we have to say. And can't wait to share this book with you. And absolutely, get it while it's 99 cents, because that's the
that's
deal.
right.
It will start going up incrementally. So yeah, get it right away, quickly, move on it, because it won't stay 99 cents for long. And make sure, obviously, you read all of it, but read Patricia's chapter, because I can't wait. I'll be right there with you reading Patricia's chapter as well, because I know it's going to be such a beautiful gift. So, Patricia, is there any last thing you would like to share with us? Any ways that we can find you if we want to know more about your beautiful offering?
Sure. Yeah, my website is patriciawaldhopkins.com. And so no hyphen in the name. And you can, learn a little bit more about what I do there. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, as Patricia Wald-Hopkins. So you can also follow that. And I just want to, thank you for spending time with me today, and thank Rada Publishing House for this opportunity to share this this wisdom that's within my heart, and to share it with all these beautiful women like Bonnie, to receive theirs as well. So just much gratitude.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm over the moon, happy with spending time with you, and hope we get to do it again very, very soon.
That would be great.
And
Okay.
happy to spend this time with those of you watching. And yeah, please be sure to check out my other interviews on my YouTube channel, and also my book, March 23rd. We'll be posting the links very, very soon. So have a wonderful day. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, everyone.